So today I have the good fortune of speaking with Mr. Matthew McConaughey, who's one of America's most recognizable actors, and I guess, according to his peers, also one of America's best actors, as he's won an Academy Award and multiple other awards. And we started to communicate about a year ago, and he's also been on my daughter's podcast. And Matthew recently wrote a book, Green Lights, which we're going to talk about today. I've read that, and I'm looking forward to discussing it. There's all sorts of things I want to talk to Matthew about, and so hopefully we'll have a stimulating conversation. That's my guess. So let's start with, well, we can start with whatever you want to start with, but let's start with the book, I think.
Yes, sir.
Tell me why you wrote it and when you wrote it and what you want people to know about it.
Yeah, so I've been keeping journals since I was 14 years old. And so I guess starting 15 years ago, I would always carry this treasure chest full of the journals I'd been keeping, and they were filling up that treasure chest. And I would take it with me to any place that we went for an extended amount of time, put it over there to the right of my proverbial desk and go, have it there, because if you get the itch and you get some time, I dare you to go on that treasure chest and see what's in there. Well, I've threatened to open up that treasure chest and see what those journals held for the past 15 years. Didn't have the courage really to open it up. Didn't want to make the time to go in there because I was intimidated of looking back at 50 years or however many years of my life. I'm not one for really liking to look back over my shoulder. I'm somebody who likes to, I'm still someone who rather enjoys making the sandwich more than eating it. I like making my movies more than I even like watching them. I like doing things, moving on, and heading forward. So,
well, you must have had some idea too when you were making those journals, at least in principle, that you owed an obligation to yourself at some point to look back over them. And I can see that would be intimidating because you're creating a task for yourself, a task of reconsideration and contemplation, I suppose.
Well, my excuse was, when I die, Camilla will open them up, and if there's something worth sharing, she'll do it. Which wasn't used in martyrdom, if there's something worth it. So I, maybe it was coming across 50. Unconsciously, I didn't think about 50 as a number of a time to be retrospective, but I had some time on my hands, and I had read an article in the New York Times that a young man had written, and I liked the article. I go, oh, this guy gets me, in a way that it was the first article I read where he had weaved all different times of my career and life into a thread, instead of sort of like saying he was this then and now he's this, and this then and now he's this. So he'd strung them all together, and I liked his style of writing, and I asked him to come on and be a ghostwriter for a book. We met one time. It was a good meeting. We thought it was going to be a book, a little hardback book that you could put on the back of the toilet that every college kid could take to school and could open it up any page, maybe read a truthism or a bumper sticker or something, and have a little aspiration ahead about their day. Well, the New York Times pulled him off because evidently they weren't allowing any of the writers to work with celebrities. And just as he got pulled off, and I was in the room, my office with Camilla, my wife, I said, I think I need to find a new ghostwriter. And I stopped at the same time she stopped. And she said, you know what this means? And I went, yeah, I do know what it means, which is I need to go off and write it myself. So she said, I packed up all the journals. She said, don't come back until you got something. And I headed off with 15 gallons of water. I don't know how many pounds of red meat and my favorite libation. And I went away to the desert. The first 12 days were sort of no electricity, me with my journals, no cell reception, nothing like that. I wanted to be forced with nothing but my past, and find some entertainment in that at least. And I feared being embarrassed. I feared feeling ashamed. And I feared seeing a arrogant little SOB that I was in the past. And I crossed all those things in looking back at my last 50 years. But what I noticed was that a lot of things I thought I'd be embarrassed about, I giggled at. A lot of things I thought I'd be ashamed about, I had already forgiven myself for, or now forgave myself for. And a lot of the times where I was an arrogant little SOB, what I realized is that if I wasn't the arrogant little SOB at that time, I may not have had the confidence to put myself in a situation to get absolutely humiliated and humbled. So I sat down with the journals. I remember going into thinking it was going to be more academic, thinking that that's what it was. That's what it was. After day 5, I realized, no, there's actually more folk poetry in here and stories to tell than any academia. So I backed off and said, let's just see what the journals reveal themselves to be. And I ended up with 8 stacks of all the journals. I said, what are some themes? I had a big stack of stories, big stack of people, big stack of places, big stack of prescribes, big stack of poems, prayers, and bumper stickers. So I had these 8 stacks. I said, okay, now let's sift through those and see if we find a central theme. And that's where green lights came from. I found that I had engineered green lights in my life through responsibilities taken yesterday, which bore me freedom today. I found that I'd gotten just I have no reason why good fortune landed in my lap. There was no reason why, but I said, well, let's make some rhyme out of this and do something with it. I found that also a lot of my yellow and red lights, those things that we don't really like that slow us down or make us stop, all had lessons that they revealed to me, which then made them green lights, or at least gave them green light assets. And then I also found that that the art is sort of in approaching the yellow light.